The Coach Curl podcast is brought to you by Think and Grow Business, the home of the Think and Grow Business Mastermind. If you're serious about growing your business, get serious and join a mastermind group today. Find out more at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au.
Hey there, it's Tony here, and welcome to episode 140 of the Coach Curl podcast. Are you willing to pay the price? That's the theme.
Way to go, guys. Way to go. Keep it going. Good job, guys. All right, Paul. I see you. Finish on. Coach Curl.
Hey there, it's Tony here, and welcome to episode 140 of the Coach Curl podcast. Today is a little bit of a rant, I guess, in some respects, what I want to talk about, because the world as it is today, and I guess in many ways what it's always been, is an interesting space. See, because everyone wants something. Everybody wants something. And this is why I'm finding it incredibly compelling, because everyone wants something, but no one wants to pay for something. So what does that mean? Well, people want success, but they don't want to pay for success. People want a great career, but they don't want to invest and do the hard yards. People want climate change, but they don't want to pay for it. So they want governments to resolve climate change, but they don't want to pay for it. And I guess in many ways this podcast has come about through what we've seen in recent history with Greta Thunberg and her impassioned plea at the United Nations to all the leaders of the world. And I think that's fantastic that someone like Greta has got the courage and the passion to speak up. But it just makes me wonder, where are we going with all of this? Because if we're willing to pay the price, we can achieve things that are just huge. We can achieve things that are just amazingly huge, whether it's individually, whether it's a collective, whether it's as a country, whether it's as in the world. Whenever we want to pay the price and invest in achievement of something, it's amazing what humans can do. It really is amazing. The ones that are willing to pay the price achieve things that they may have never thought possible, while those that don't pay often go completely unfulfilled. And I see this everywhere. John Maxwell talks about the law of sacrifice, for example. He talks about the fact that to go up, you have to give up. That's part of the world that we live in. If you want to achieve success, you have to sacrifice things to achieve that success. The funny thing about the world is that life demands a payment. It does. We can either play now and pay later, or pay now and play later. So when people are looking at investing in themselves, investing in their business, investing in their career, developing themselves, growing stronger, better, faster, wiser as people, they tend to pay now. They invest now because they know that if they do the hard work now, it will pay off for them in the long run and will give them an opportunity to play later. Whereas a lot of people want to play now, and then they end up paying later with this thing that we call regret, remorse, inability to do what we could when we were younger. If you pay now by investing in you, your hard work, your perseverance, with intentional, conscious action, you reap the rewards later. But if you don't, it costs you with remorse and regret and potentially feeling incredibly unfulfilled. Life makes us pay. We can choose. And our choice is when we pay. We either pay now or we pay later. So whether it's success, goals, career, business, sport, it doesn't matter. If you want something, there is a demand for your payment. You can't point the finger. You can't blame others. There is a payment attached to anything that we want. It's really simple. If you want something, you have to invest in it. You have to pay for it. And this is one of the real challenges that I think in the world that we face. This concept of climate change. Now, I am not sitting here as an expert on climate change. I've read some of the reports, but I'm also fundamentally aware of the fact that we have been measuring our world, at best, for probably 100 years with some sort of record keeping, right? Digital record keeping is only a relatively recent thing. So as a human race, and for our world that's, the indigenous cultures here in Australia, for example, have recorded DNA sources going back 60,000 years. So our world is potentially at least 60,000 years old, and we've been recording for 100 years. 100 years. So I can understand, and I think most people in the world today can certainly understand that the impact and the modernisation and the technology and the industrial revolutions that we've all gone through in the last 100 years, I think most sensible people would understand that that would have an impact on our Earth. And it makes sense to reduce our emissions and to look after the place that we live. It makes sense, doesn't it? We just can't keep farming resources. We just can't keep, polluting our waterways. We just can't keep pumping smoke up into the air. Most sensible people would acknowledge that's not a good, wise thing to do. But whether that represents one of the major impacts that we have on what we can identify through, through much of the archaeologists and whatnot in the world, the world has gone through climate change many times over that 60,000 years. We've gone through, we've got an age in the world called the Ice Age. So where the world was predominantly, this planet called Earth was predominantly an ice field, right? So we've had climate change the whole time. You think about the source of our energy, the sun. Now, we have no control over the sun. And I'm guessing that these orbits that we're on are not exact like pendulums that we're just swinging on, that there's going to be deviances over the course of time. So understanding the tilt of the axis of the Earth, for example, creates our seasons, but a tilt too far, so these are things that we don't fully understand. Now, in saying that, I understand we have an impact, and it makes sense to be doing something about it. But, and I say but, it's up to each and every one of us to do that. It is. So if we want to see something done about climate change, we have to pay. We have to pay, right? And this is where the issue is. Because standing there being emotive and blaming politicians and talking about the hyperbole that people are stealing the future of our children doesn't solve the nature of climate change. And it doesn't help address the impact that humans are having on the Earth. Because ultimately, if we were, now just say, if we were really deadly serious, if the governments of the world all got together and said, well, that's it, we've just got to stop lighting, we've got to stop electricity because electricity is being, unless it's renewable. The only electricity we're going to have is renewable, solar or wind or water-driven power. As of tomorrow, coal generation and is illegal. So what would be the impact of that? What would be the impact of that? I'm not sure what it would be. What about if we were to say, okay, nothing else can be now made out of anything else that isn't renewable? So things like steel and whatnot that are created from materials in the ground, resources. What if we were to stop them all tomorrow? There's a price that everyone has to pay. And this is the challenge that we have. People are not prepared to pay the price on things that they want or things that they say that they want. So whether it's a goal that someone's chasing, whether it's the business growth model that someone wants to do, whether it's just plain old developing yourself to be better, we say we want these things, but the proof is in the pudding. And are we willing to pay for those things? And this is the challenge that we face. Whether it be climate change or whether it be you losing 10 kilos. The reality is if you want something, you have to invest in it. You have to. That's the reality. And if everyone in the world today said, I'm going to put solar onto the roofs of my car. Now, the problems with things like that, solar costs a little bit of money for people to do that. And so we all sit back and we want the government to give us a rebate or a subsidy for us to do that. Yeah, I'm happy to use renewable energies. I just don't want to pay for it. Where's the logic in that? Where's the logic in that? And then we've got people in our society pointing fingers at the government who are giving us a rebate to go into renewables and telling us that they're not doing enough. So take this for what it is. It's just Curly saying, it's Coach Curl saying, everybody wants something, but few are willing to pay the price. But I can guarantee you that if you're willing to pay the price on anything that you want to achieve, whether it's from an individual basis, whether it's from a business sense, or whether it's to save the bloody planet, when you pay the price, you set the scene for success. When you invest in that, you set the scene for success. Everyone wants something, but few are willing to pay the price. I hope you've taken something away from today's podcast episode. As always, big thank you to Think and Grow Business and my team out at Think and Grow Business. We've got a wonderful leadership workshop happening tomorrow for some volunteer organisations that are looking after the global games here in Brisbane. So I'm really excited about that. So thank you. Check it out at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au. Don't forget, I've written a book. It's called Seriously Simple Stuff to Get You Unstuck. 20% of every book sold, whether it's through Amazon or any of the other good retailers that are stocking the book, 20% of that goes to support the wonderful work that the team at Carter's Cause do in supporting the kids and the families of kids born with congenital heart disease. Don't forget, Totally Builderall. Once again, it's just an amazing platform. They've now added, on top of everything else that they do, they've now added WordPress hosting. It's just unbelievable. If you haven't checked out totallybuilderall.com, you need to, because Builderall is just amazing. And so check it out, totallybuilderall.com. Find out all there is. Sign up for the 7 free-day trial. It's amazing. Don't forget the Coach Curl Academy. We've got over 70 programs there to help you strengthen your leadership, your mindset, and your business. And where you are now is exactly where you should be. You're stronger, you're braver, you're wiser, and don't ever forget that golden rule. Yes, you know what it is. Just don't be an arsehole. I'll see you later.